Good evening and welcome into the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Jacob Brooks.
And I'm Dane Palmer. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a big show of sports news ahead of us as we start with some of the most talked about sporting events of 2026 so far.
And Dane, it's only right we start locally where unfortunately unsportsmanlike behavior is becoming much more commonplace. Over the past few months, fans and parents alike have started to get a little bit out of control.
Yeah, our Maryvale joins us from the newsroom with more on a recent brawl at a 7-on-7 flag football tournament in Mesa.
Competition in youth sports has become more and more intense, resulting in fights in the stands and on the field. In some cases, parents have gotten in on the action. That was the case in Mesa, where a 7-on-7 youth flag football tournament was cut short by a large-scale fight that began between players throwing punches before escalating when parents and spectators became involved. 70 police officers were dispatched to the Arizona Athletic Grounds in Mesa in response to the scene. We talked to one witness at the game who says this was as bad as he's ever seen.
You behave poorly at these sevens events, you will face consequences, and they basically got the biggest punishment that you could possibly get without being arrested.
Brandon Jones, founder of BJ Media, videotapes youth sports almost every weekend. He was on hand when a fight broke out at the MLK Jamboree flag football tournament hosted by Red Zone Elite. The chaotic scene resulted in player and coach suspensions.
The fact that they had to shut Arizona Athletic Grounds for the rest of the day, Arizona Athletic Grounds said that they cannot host tournaments there anymore.
The canceled events are just one consequence of these altercations that turned violent. Action is becoming more intense in the stands than sports fields. Brandon believes the intensity could be driven by parents reliving their dreams through their children.
Doing all this crazy stuff. Be a parent instead of a fan.
A survey conducted by the U.S. Center for Safe Sport shows parents are the most common source of verbal harassment, abuse, and threats towards coaches. Sports are so embedded in American culture that we often allow wins and losses to get the best of our emotions.
We see in our office quite a bit where there's brawls that break out and it's inappropriate. So I do think that passion and that emotion takes them over to a place where they probably admittedly wouldn't want to be.
Experts say the adults in the room need to model the right behavior, including coaches as well as the parents.
On some of these sevens teams, they have very poor role models when it comes to coaches. And these coaches are chirping at other coaches and getting into fights. And these high school kids are going to do what the people that they're around do.
The AIA says their message isn't about pointing fingers, it's about awareness, portraying respect to others even when emotions are running high. In the newsroom, I'm Maryvale, Cronkite News.
Thank you, Raina. And unfortunately, it's not just in youth sports. Fans attending sporting events in the college and pro ranks have also been getting out of hand. Duke men's basketball head coach John Shire talked about his players and coaches getting injured when fans stormed the court after their loss to rival North Carolina.
Yeah, and at the WM Phoenix Open, heckling might have cost Hideki Matsuyama his third title there. The two-time champ lost his lead after having to back off 2 swings because of crowd noise.
Yeah, if you take a look here at Matsuyama on 18, he had a par putt to win the WM Open, but then had to back off because of that crowd noise and then missed the ensuing putt, which forced a playoff that he eventually lost to Chris Gotterup. Clearly, the heckling rattled Matsuyama as he ended up hitting it into the water during that playoff at hole 18. Matsuyama wasn't the only golfer affected by heckling, as Mackenzie Hughes had his rhythm completely interrupted after streamer Jack Doherty offered a fan $100 to yell during his backswing. Dane Doherty was quickly escorted out after that.
Yeah, and banned for life, as it seems like right now people will do whatever it takes to go viral. To the NBA, where the Suns got thumped by the Thunder in their last game before the All-Star break.
Yeah, it's probably a good time for that All-Star break for Phoenix, but they will be represented by star guard Devin Booker in the NBA's three-point contest, as this marks Booker's 5th appearance in the event.
Yeah, that's my bro. Shout out to him. He's a great player in this league. He deserves everything more. So.
And also, I think he has the respect of the coaches to get him there, and then he's going to go out and enjoy it. Like, he should be a part of that group. Our team's success, like he said, has surely helped him. But he's just about all the right things.
Sun Devil baseball is officially back as ASU is set to begin another season this Friday night at Phoenix Municipal Stadium.
Yeah, the Sun Devils host the University of Omaha to start off an intriguing 2026 campaign.
The Sun Devils finished last season above 500 and made the regionals for the first time since 2021. However, their current roster looks vastly different. ASU lost 9 players to the MLB draft and 3 more to the transfer portal. 15 new transfers have came in that will look to make an immediate impact, alongside some returners that are coming back from injury, like Saturday starter Colin Linder, who is looking forward to his first start since 2024 and making his ASU debut.
I can already feel the excitement building. I'm sure there will be anxiety, there will be a ton of excitement, but at the end of the day, once I step on the mound, it's back to business. It's me against the hitter.
Coming up next on the Cronkite Sports Report, spring training is underway as 15 different MLB teams have been taking over the Valley.
Yeah, baseball's finally back in the Valley, along with one of my favorite playing surfaces, that beautiful outfield grass.
If the grass is green, I think everyone thinks it's cool. But as a groundskeeper, you look at it a little bit more specific.
Check out how these stadiums are preparing for spring training after the break.
And we'll go from baseball to hoops as we'll meet the local high school basketball player who scored 100 points in a game when the Cronkite Sports Report returns after this quick break. Welcome back into the Cronkite Sports Report. This week, pitchers and catchers have reported for spring training in Arizona, kicking off the long-awaited start of baseball season.
Yeah, I can't wait for those ballpark vibes, those sights and sounds.
And not only that, that smell of the freshly cut grass. There's a lot that goes into getting the fields ready for the Cactus League games, and our Antonio Gutierrez got the dirt from the grounds crew on how they keep the diamonds pitch perfect.
10 ballparks across the valley are getting ready to open their gates for Cactus League action. At Peoria Sports Complex, home of the San Diego Padres and Seattle Mariners, the groundskeeping crew has hit their stride.
We usher stamp mound the sessions, we'll drag all the fields, all the warning tracks, mow, and just prepare for everything.
Between the Mariners and Padres, the complex houses 17 diamonds, hosting over 200,000 fans each spring from all over the country.
For most fans, they come to Arizona for Cactus League spring training every year. The thing they come to watch is the product on the field. New managers, young prospects, you name it. But they might not notice all the small details that go into every single field. And for the grounds crew, that's really what keeps them coming back, year in and year out.
If the grass is green, I think everyone thinks it's cool. But as a groundskeeper, you look at it a little bit more specific. But little tiny patches of lighter stuff, and that's stuff you can spray and actually get it out and turn it even more dark and green.
With pitchers and catchers reporting this week, Cactus League fields are set to hit the ground running. Former pitcher and current San Diego Padres manager Craig Stammen knows firsthand the privilege of playing on a well-kept diamond.
They're in probably the best shape that I've seen them in all the years I've been out here. We're excited to get spring training started. The grass is green, the dirt's ready to go. They're ready for the big league players.
Now, all that's needed is a few cracks of the bat and pops of the glove. Then it's time to play ball. In Peoria, Antonio Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
Well, if only I could get my lawn to look that good. As the players hit the field, the managers and executives gather for Cactus League Media Day.
That's right, Dane. And we've got more from Antonio Gutierrez, who's out in Scottsdale right now, to let us know what we could expect this spring. There's a lot of changes. Antonio, what have you been hearing?
A bit earlier this year, since the World Baseball Classic starts on March 5th. Team USA is favored to win it, but Japan and Dominican Republic aren't far behind. D-backs players like Ketel Marte and Geraldo Perdomo will be playing for the DR, while Alec Thomas will be playing for Team Mexico. Also, new rules coming this year for the MLB regular season with the ABS challenge system. Batters, pitchers, and catchers can challenge balls and strikes if they don't agree with the umpire. Word around here is that all the players are on board with it, but it might favor the batters just a little bit more. So we'll see how many pitchers really like it midway through the season. And good news for the Angels, as the Tempe City Council has approved huge renovations to come to Tempe Diablo Stadium, a stadium that hadn't seen changes in over 20 years. In Scottsdale, Antonio Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
More baseball news. Diamondback star Corbin Carroll was supposed to play for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, but he suffered a very serious injury yesterday.
Yeah, he broke a bone in his hand during live batting practice, an injury that will likely take Carroll out for 4 to 6 weeks. Carroll had surgery yesterday and was already back at Talking Stick today. He's pretty bummed, as you can imagine. The goal now is to just get him healthy enough to be back in time for the start of the regular season.
I took a swing, didn't feel good, and then I just kind of moved my hand around, felt something wiggling around in there, and figured probably should go get it checked out. Minimal pain, just gonna try and do what I can to stay in shape and I think the biggest thing will be getting back swinging.
Yeah, Dane, really tough break for Carroll there. D-backs fans will be wishing him a speedy recovery, but on a sunnier note, let's turn now to the Cronkite weather report.
Yeah, you're wondering whether to bring a jacket or some sunscreen to the baseball field? Matthew joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with our forecast.
Things are heating up here in the valley with spring training right around the corner. Let's go ahead and check out what weather historically has looked like over that 6-week span. We're going to see over on the western side of things getting up to 71, which is decent, 73 in Central Valley where the Angels and Brewers play, and dropping off towards 70 degrees on the eastern side where the Cubs are at. So definitely nice weather historically. However, if we go ahead and look at opening week, we're going to see it cool off a little bit before heating up later in the following months. We're going to see 67 and 66 across the board for these areas during spring training. If we go ahead and look at what makes Florida and Arizona so different in terms of spring training, obviously the Grapefruit League out there, Cactus League out here in Arizona. Florida brings a much more volatile environment for the fans and players. We see more rain, higher average temperatures, and of course the higher humidity, which affects all things from, the fans' experience to how the players approach their games and such. If we go ahead and move forward, we can take a look at the 8-day forecast coming up, obviously Saturday, Valentine's Day. Make sure you get your loved ones and go enjoy the nice weather, 74 degrees before cranking up to 78 on Sunday. Lows will get as low as 52 during that span. And if we go ahead and check out what we have the rest of the time, Tuesday we're going to see 60% coverage. However, thankfully it should clear up before games start on Thursday for spring training. We'll see highs come in at 66 to 76 on Monday, so big range there, but the lows are going to continue to drop off throughout the week. I'm Matthew Pierce here in the Weather Center.
Coming up next, he's the #2 prospect in the state.
Yeah, and he has his eyes set on the NBA, keeping the family tradition alive by following in his brother's footsteps.
See your brother on the big stage is knowing that he made it, he put the work in for it, and I want to do the same exact thing.
We'll hear from the Millennium High senior and his big brother who plays for the Denver Nuggets coming up on Cronkite News.
That right there was Cameron Holmes, the standout senior at Millennium High School who recently made some pretty big decisions on his college career. Stay tuned to find out where he's playing collegiate ball and how he became one of the best hoops prospects in the state. Welcome back into the Cronkite Sports Report. More on Holmes in a second, but Dane, we've got to dive into this exciting high school boys basketball season.
Yeah, Jacob, it's been a heck of a season so far. Speaking of standout basketball players, there is one performance by a Maryvale high school player that gained national attention earlier this year. Our Ryan Paseznik has more on the record-breaking feat of Adrian Stubbs.
In a game against Yuma's Kofa High School in mid-January, Maryvale guard Adrian Stubbs accomplished something no other high school basketball player in Arizona had done before, scoring 100 points in a game and breaking a 60-year-old state record in the process.
It's good to dream about it, fantasize about having 100 points in a single game. But just going out there, I was just, going with the flow. The game was flowing, I just kept shooting, and it just happened.
The 5'10" senior guard, who's nicknamed Ace, set out on a mission from the beginning of tip-off, scoring 70 points at the half and adding another 30 points by the end of the third quarter, making it tough for the scorekeeper to keep up.
I think after his first 6 buckets, I was like, this is getting kind of crazy. And I was just like, my friend Omar was next to me, another manager. I was just like, just let me know if he makes a point and I don't realize, because it was getting intense. It was just back to back to back buckets,
Unlike the NBA, where a quarter of basketball is 12 minutes, it is 8 minutes in high school. So when you break down the numbers, Stubbs was averaging 4 points a minute through 3 quarters of play. Stubbs finished with an overall field goal percentage of 60%, shooting 80% from inside the arc, 25% from long distance, and 64% from the free throw line, making him impossible to stop.
You could see a look in his eyes, everything was falling for him. So I just knew, let him keep going until he can't no more. And it just kept going from there. Eventually got 100.
It was intense, just realizing, he's beating the state record. I have to keep track of everything.
While Stubbs has gotten the chance to celebrate the milestone, there is a deeper meaning to his performance, crediting his teammates for trusting in his abilities and representing Maryvale High School.
I like to feed my guys, I like to get them hype, energy. And these guys, they're not just players on a team. They can hoop. These guys can flat out go. Every single one of them.
People like to say we're a Title I school district, we're low income, low socioeconomic thing, and that somehow that makes us less than. And we've always told our kids that they could be anything, they could do anything.
Stubbs has raised the bar for Arizona high school basketball players to chase his scoring record. And while it remains to be seen if it will be broken again in the future, for now, Ace remains the top card in the record books. In Phoenix, Ryan Paseznik, Cronkite News.
But yeah, 4 points a minute, that's absolutely insane. When he broke that record, we all asked, what was the previous record and who held it?
Yeah, Dane, a lot of people were wondering that, and the previous Arizona high school scoring record had stood for over 6 decades. So I drove up to Fredonia, Arizona to uncover the story behind the man who held that record, George McCormick.
Just like the old days.
In 1965, George McCormick proved big record holders can come from small places.
We started the game off as a normal game, and the bookkeeper came over and said, I don't remember how many points, but he's got so many points, why don't you put him back in, see how many he can get.
And I looked over at the bench, and Benny Jordan, our coach, said, "Feed George, he's hot."
Coach was right, as McCormick finished with 75 points to mark a new state scoring record, and the way he got those points was ahead of his time.
I swear he was shooting jump shots from the half, and he shot a lot of them out in here, which would have been 3-pointers nowadays.
I was shooting that distance. Once we got past the half-court line, I was ready to shoot.
He was always modest about his record.
He's always been very private, and he doesn't boast. He never has about anything.
There was a lot of people that were like, what? And you would think we're at such a small town that it would have been, something that was known, and he just didn't ever really talk about it.
Adrian Stubbs of Maryvale High School broke his 60-year grip on the record in 2026, but McCormick doesn't mind.
Well, I'm glad that somebody broke it finally. Monkey's off my back, it's on yours now.
McCormick's Fredonia roots run deep. He and Rhea were high school sweethearts, and his grandpa was a town founding father. So the best way for him to give back to the town was through coaching.
What would you say was more special to you, your playing days and that record, or your days as a coach?
Probably my days as a coach. It meant a lot. And we did win one state championship with the boys and 5 with the girls.
To get those titles, he had to fight through location problems.
Closest league game's 250 miles one way.
And population problems.
Because we all fit K through 12 into one school, it's a little bit depressing.
People moving into the area won't come to Fredonia because they don't want their kids in this school, so they're going to Kanab.
Fredonia is a small town, the gateway to the North Rim, with an estimated population of only 1,300 residents and being located roughly 3.5 miles south of the Arizona-Utah state border. 3.5 miles north of the same border is a bigger city, Kanab, Utah, with an estimated population of over 5,000 residents. Despite the two towns only being separated by 7 miles, their trajectories couldn't be more different, as Kanab has been experiencing an economic boom due to tourism, and McCormick's Fredonia has been struggling for resources.
When you start losing all your kids to Kanab, you're going to end up with nothing. That's what's happened.
Although the state of the town and its basketball program has induced sorrow feelings,
It's actually kind of a grieving process to watch the school dwindle, because it's all you've ever known.
there's nowhere else McCormick would rather be.
It changed over time. It's changed, but I'd do it again if I had the choice.
You'd do it all over again and you wouldn't change a thing?
No, I wouldn't change nothing.
McCormick turns 78 next month and told me he enjoys his days taking care of his cows on his farm and has no plans to ever leave Fredonia.
Yeah, absolutely unreal work right there, Jacob. Heck of a package, amazing to walk. Now back to present day. We promise more on Cameron Holmes, who's poised to one day join his brother in the NBA. Alexander Martinez has more on Holmes and how he became one of basketball's best high school prospects.
Cameron Holmes has been a human highlight reel for the Millennium Tigers this season. The senior is rated as one of the top recruits in the state and among the top 50 in the country. He will be playing college ball next season for the Arizona Wildcats.
I feel like for me, I've always just been a hometown kid, you know, staying close to family. You know, I wanted my family to come to my games next year. And yeah, just choosing Arizona, you know, staying with Millennium, it meant a lot to me. You know, loyalty over anything for me.
But Holmes has even bigger dreams, to follow in the footsteps of his older brother Deron, a first-round draft pick and forward for the Denver Nuggets. Cameron says Deron's success was life-changing.
Oh, that was crazy. That was crazy. That was my #1 experience ever, you know, seeing your brother on the big stage, you know, shaking Adam Silver's hand, that meant a lot to me, you know, just knowing that he made it, he put the work in for it, and I want to do the same exact thing.
The brothers bonded over basketball, whether it was at the local YMCA or out in their driveway. They were always competitive and made each other better.
I remember we used to play on this little toy basket all the time, and I used to always push him, and I think that's where he gets his aggression from today.
Their connection has only gotten stronger as Deron has helped mentor Cameron as the younger brother's game has taken off.
It is pretty impressive to see, honestly. Just the growth. It's pretty crazy to me. Like as a big brother, like I said, it's like, wow, like he's really doing this now. He's dunking, he's windmilling, and I can't even windmill. So, you know, yeah.
They do talk often. They bounce ideas off of each other. His brother helps him with certain things. So I think they've gotten a whole lot closer now that they both are getting older. Like Cameron's 18 now, so they're both adults.
Cameron is hoping to do something his older brother never did, and that's lead Millennium to a state championship.
He's like our leader, like he's really like the top person on the team. I mean, he's got the vocal, like he's yelling at us, like if we're not giving enough effort, and he's complimenting us when we do something well. He's just a perfect leader.
Cameron had the opportunity to follow in his brother's footsteps by heading to Dayton for college ball. Instead, he chose to stay here in State 48 near friends and family to play for the Arizona Wildcats. In Goodyear, Alexander Martinez, Cronkite News.
And now we got to go from hoops to the snow. The Winter Olympics are in full swing with athletes from nearly 100 nations competing in the Winter Games.
Yeah, every single one of those athletes looking to bring home some gold. With the Team USA athletes competing in 16 events, they are looking to take home as many medals as possible. Find out how they're doing when we return. Winter Olympic Games are well underway, and for the first time in 12 years, the NHL is allowing its players to skate, which didn't happen in the last games because of the pandemic. Team USA plays its first game in this Olympics today against Latvia.
Well, Dane, Team USA is one of the top contenders for the hockey gold. Welcome back in as we check in on the 2026 Winter Olympic Games.
Yeah, Team USA has hit the ground running, or should I say, rather, the ice, working hard to bring those medals home. As of Thursday night, USA ranks third in the medal count with 13 overall, 4 gold, 6 silver, and 3 bronze. Sitting right behind Norway and host country Italy, the last 2 U.S. gold medals were earned by speed and figure skating. There are just 10 days left to rack up the medals before the games come to a close on the 22nd.
Speaking of coming to a close, that's it for tonight's edition of the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Jacob Brooks.
And I'm Dane Palmer. Thank you so much for joining us.